So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about 3 interesting PlayStation 5 stories, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, the stories I wanted to dive into today includes the next major update for the PlayStation 5 that's live now that brings about, I want to say, 26 new features, including Discord integration, VRR changes, installed updates, and a good chunk more. We're going to go over all of that. Beyond that, we've got potentially exciting information for Wolverine on PlayStation 5, and the future of PlayStation VR 2 is looking possibly bright. First, yes or no, do you even use Discord? One of the major updates we're going to go over today is, of course, Discord finally coming to PlayStation 5 in a proper form, but I'm curious if any of you actually even use Discord. I personally do use it for various things, but that's just me. What about you guys? So comment below, yes or no, do you even use Discord or not? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, the next major update for the PlayStation 5. So before we jump into these features, I also want to note that PlayStation VR 2 got an update this morning. I didn't think much of it because there weren't any patch note mentions or anything like that, but it seems like people on Reddit are mentioning actual improvements in image quality for games like Horizon Call of the Mountain and Gran Turismo 7. I'll link the Reddit thread below for people discussing the PlayStation VR 2 update changes. But going over the PlayStation 5 update changes, this one, there's a good chunk of it, so we're going to go one by one, so saddle up. First up is 1440p changes. VRR is now supported for 1440p. It wasn't before, and there are also more options for testing 1440p as well on the PlayStation 5 because it goes through various tests to make sure everything works well. Next up, you can transfer data to another PlayStation 5 now. Link up the consoles, the 2 PlayStation 5s, and transfer the data. This doesn't change anything on your original console. It allows you to just move information faster. Discord is finally here. You can now transfer Discord calls to your PlayStation 5, link your PlayStation 5 to Discord, launch the call on your phone, transfer it to the PlayStation 5, and you're good to go. If you've already linked your Discord account to your PlayStation 5 before this update, like I have, you're going to have to link it again for the new features to appear. Voice command changes. I couldn't really test this one because this update, this feature itself actually, is still only for US and UK users, but based off the patch notes, the changes here include now having the ability to say things like, hey PlayStation, capture that to capture recent gameplay, which you can customize how long you want that to be when you just say, hey, capture that. Or you can say, hey PlayStation, capture the last 5 minutes, or hey PlayStation, start recording or stop recording. So they're nice little changes to the voice commands, and hopefully voice command itself as a feature comes to more places, more countries. You know, Canada's right here. We're right by the US PlayStation. I don't know why you wouldn't bring it here. But to continue on, screen reader ability, so the accessibility feature has been upgraded here as well. It can now tell you in which direction you can move in a screen of options. So if I'm on a menu, it can tell me if I can move up, right, down, left, etc. It will also highlight what's being read when you're on the web browser. It's funny that they actually acknowledge the web browser here, since it's like Mission Impossible to try to get into the web browser on the PlayStation 5. But when you're there, whatever you have highlighted, it'll actually say it out loud and highlight it on the screen. Moving over from that, Game Hub has been updated. It can now display time played and what percentage you're at to complete the main objectives of the story in a game. So just the main objectives, how far you are to complete that. You can also see a tile that shows which friends own the game you're playing. You can click on it, see the list, and even go to their profiles and, you know, get into games with these people. Trophy list has been moved, as you can see on the Game Hub now. Competitive multiplayer cards can be displayed in full and have more prominent placement to get you into matches faster. I haven't personally used these competitive cards as much. Every time I do use them, they don't really work out as well, but you know, Sony's clearly still putting an effort towards that. Crossplay update. Now you'll see the list of people in your lobby or party that are on other platforms. So you can see that in the main PS5 UI. Moving over to Gamebase, you can now select on someone's profile and send a screen share request. You can do this on the PlayStation 5 and on the PlayStation app as well. I personally couldn't get this running on the PlayStation app myself. I didn't see the option. Maybe it's a delayed update. I'm not really sure. In a voice party chat card, you'll now see an icon next to party members that are playing a game. You can join, select the player, then select join game to get that going. For me, while recording and editing this video, it's too early in the morning for me to test run this with a buddy of mine, but it's definitely a nice addition to get matches with friends up and running faster. So I like that. Friends on their PlayStation app. So friends who are using the PlayStation app will now appear online on the PlayStation 5. They're not hidden. I haven't really paid attention to it before, but obviously that's a nice addition here. Game library has been updated. You can now filter for PlayStation VR 1 and PlayStation VR 2 games. I wish they would allow us to bring folders to the main UI, but I'm still putting that out to the universe. Hopefully it comes in a future update. Game presets has been updated. You can now add preferences on game presets for multiplayer, allowing you to adjust who can join your games and who can invite people to join your games. I've seen people interested in this type of control before this update went live and when the beta was announced, so here it is finally. Game data update. Whether you're installing a game, a PlayStation 4 game or a PlayStation 5 game that can use a PlayStation 4 save data, the PlayStation 5 will notify you if you have a PlayStation 4 game save in the cloud for this game. So for example, if you're installing the PlayStation 5 version of Ghost of Tsushima and you want to continue where you left off on the PlayStation 4, before you had to download the save and then get it going on the PlayStation 5 on the game itself, the PlayStation 5 now will notify you to download the PS4 save from the cloud. This feature, while it's nice, it would have been even better to have this earlier on in the generation than it is now. But of course, there are more people getting access to the PlayStation 5 and potentially more people moving over from the PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. So I guess this feature is still useful for them. Manually uploading to the PlayStation app. So this one's a bit of a heartbreaker for me. This was a highlight feature for me when the beta was announced. And when I got the beta, it's one of the first features I wanted to check out. But it has not worked for me the entire beta period, and with this new public update, it still doesn't work for me personally. The feature is supposed to allow you to manually upload screenshots and videos to the PlayStation app instead of relying on the automatic upload feature only. So you can, record a gameplay of a half an hour. That won't upload to the PlayStation app automatically, but what you can do is go in there and edit a snippet of that, save it as a new video, and then manually upload that. That's how this feature was going to benefit me, but it doesn't work for me. Let me know if it works for any of you guys out there. Moving on from that, keyboard feature update. The keyboard suggestion feature now highlights the suggested word when pressing R1, and you can now press X to select it. You can also get the system to remove certain suggestions from the keyboard so you don't see them in the future. Moving on from that, Unicode 15 emojis can now be displayed, so new emojis. Integrity checks for downloaded items has been reduced. It will happen while the copy label is on display, so I assume this should allow game installations to run quicker. Speaking of installations, whatever copy of a game you have installed on your console can now be used, whether it's disc sourced or PlayStation Network sourced. So for example, if you have a game on disc but then bought it on the PlayStation Network, you can just use the PlayStation Network version of the game without needing the disc. They also mentioned that if someone else on your PlayStation 5 has purchased a game but you have the disc version yourself, you can now just use the other person's downloaded game and insert your disc, but you don't need to install anything from your disc. This one was weird because couldn't I just play the game without the disc since it's on the PlayStation 5 downloaded? So I'm not sure about this one. I don't really share my account or used account shared by other people, so I'm not sure if this is an actual major change, but I think it's mainly focused on whatever is installed on your console. You can use it whether it's from the PlayStation Network or from a disc. You don't need to install it from the disc, or if you have the disc you have that installed on the system, you don't need to try to install a new version from the PlayStation Network. That's what I got from this. Moving over to hints, a list of objectives can now be shown on the card hint system if a game supports it. For God of War example, God of War Ragnarok, it has this feature. You can just go to the goal that you have on there and see the list of objectives to complete that goal. So again, this is mainly for games that support it, but but a nice little change. DualSense wireless updates, the DualSense controller, DualSense Edge controller, and of course the PlayStation VR 2 controllers can now all be updated wirelessly. And finally, authorized applications. So now on your PlayStation 5, you can view and manage authorized applications in the settings like Discord, for example. Now diving into the second story of the video, PlayStation VR 2's future. So this is a quick story. Recently, Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki said this in regards to the future of PlayStation VR 2. We are happy to launch VR 2 on PlayStation 5. VR 1, we sold over 5 million units, and I think we have a good chance to exceed that amount with PlayStation VR 2. So if Sony still held to their original 2 million units for the launch period, I believe it was, for PlayStation VR 2, then I assume this thing should outpace the PlayStation VR 1. The hype this time around seems to be higher, and more people have jumped into VR for the first time with PlayStation VR 2. This is alongside all the people who had a PlayStation VR 1. Sony could also help this by releasing more hybrid titles like Resident Evil 8 and GT7 for more major titles. If they can get those hybrid updates ready for day one, that'll be even better. They should also bring other major VR titles to the platform like Half-Life Alyx, of course. Two games that I've seen people say would make them get PlayStation VR 2 includes Gran Turismo 7, which is already there, and Half-Life Alyx. Those two I've seen mentioned a lot before the launch of PlayStation VR 2. But you guys let me know if you have PlayStation VR 2 at this point or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And now diving into the final story of the video, possibly exciting Wolverine PlayStation 5 information. Reading from Push Square, voice actor and longtime Wolverine star Steve Blum could be reprising his role for Insomniac's game's upcoming PlayStation 5 game, Marvel's Wolverine. At least that's what fans believe. A video shared on the veteran's Instagram page resurfaced on TikTok this week, where he talks about shooting performance capture for an upcoming release. In the clip, Blum is clearly seen wearing full facial capture equipment, and he confirms that the project he's working on is related to a game he signed an NDA on. So an NDA project points to something unreleased, so it could be Insomniac's Wolverine since he's a veteran with the role. But Push Square also notes that he's played Sub-Zero before for the Mortal Kombat franchise, so this could also be for the recently announced Mortal Kombat 12. If Wolverine is set to come out next year for PlayStation 5 2024. I guess the timing of this situation could be right, but you guys let me know if you're excited for Steve Blum to potentially be Wolverine for Insomniac's game or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is to body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with the big update is here. Obviously in reference to the major update that released today with Discord, 1440p changes, and a lot of other nice enhancements. If you're excited to get into those features and use those features, destroy the comment section with the big update is here. And I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do, because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.